offering loving salutations at Bhagavan's Lotus Feet. Jai Sai Ram to everyone. It's good to see so many of you. I'm sure there are many more who are coming in, being a Friday evening. I have a great opportunity and privilege to introduce our guest speaker today, Dr. Sainath Manikonda. In our student community, he's very, very well known, very fondly known as Sainath sir. He has a lot of credentials in terms of academics. I'll not get into that. All I'll say in that front is he has got his research done in the university, Oxhey University of Higher Learning. He's in the Department of Physics. He has done lots and lots of work over the academics in terms of how do we take care of the students, teach the students, etc. I think I have been very fortunate to be a student of Sainath sir. When I joined Parthi in 1993, he was one of our physics lecturer. So I had a great fortune. More importantly, more than any of these academics and everything, the best part of the story is that Sainath sir has been so fortunate. One of the blessed few, I don't know, maybe we can count on fingers, very few people who has got an opportunity to be very, very, very close to Swami. He has lived with Swami, if I may say that. He lived with Swami. So I'm sure he will share more and more experiences for several years. And he has been taking care of Swami in his physical form. Not in the divine form, of course. I'm sure he will say many more instances, but in his physical form, taking care of Swami, being his, I don't know, sir, if I may use this word, personal attendant. So he has been very fortunate to be like that with Swami. And then, obviously, he has been a chosen person by Bhagavan to be a speaker in front of Bhagavan himself. Whenever Swami needs a speaker, there are 2 or 3 people he would go to, and sir is one of them. So all he needs is just an indication from Swami that Sainath, come and speak, then he's there, right? So no time to prepare or anything, and he's always there. So, and then we used to have lots and lots of what we call as Parayan sessions in the hostel. Call sir and then few others into the hostel rooms every Thursday, every Sunday, and then listen to his experiences, listen to him, what he has learned with Bhagavan, what all he can share with us. So those are very good golden moments. So I think I have had a fortune of listening to him, I don't know, I can't count, several times. I think it is very good for us that he is here in UK this week, and then he has spent some time with Leicester devotees in Region 4, if I'm right, yesterday. And then he is here with us with Region 2, and then I think Sunday he'll be with Region 3 as well. So I'll not take too much of time, sir. We would like to welcome you to the stage, and then please share your experiences of what is it like being close to Bhagavan. Thank you, Sai Ram.
While I set my talk up, first of all, my dear sisters and brothers in the United Kingdom and my young adults whom I see here, it's a great honor to be here. Of course, I came here as a part of the alumni meet, which was held in the Great Lakes some time back. And after that, we thought that maybe we should also give me some time to spend with all of you. share a little bit of what I have learned at Bhagwan's feet. And not with the intention of anything else, but maybe it could help each one of us in our journey. So the agenda for today is, we'll make it very clear. Please leave the introduction given to me out of the door. It's kind of scary, primarily because it makes me feel like as if I'm somebody different from you. While the truth is all of us are on the same road. We are all pursuing our journey to Bhagwan. Each one of us is at a different stage. That's the only difference. And maybe we even bump into each other like on this occasion. Possibly just share our life stories with each other so that, it can change us, make us modify our course of actions, and possibly take what is good from others and learn. That's what I do all the time. So today, in today's satsang, what I would be doing is, yes, I'll be sharing number of experiences which I've had in the close proximity of Bhagwan as a student and then as a faculty member. And then try to see and try to weave a little story out of the entire sequence. Something, that can possibly be like a take home for all of us when we go home from here. I'd like to begin with, I don't know how many of you read the book by Swami Rama called The Living with the Himalayan Masters. A very practical, down-to-earth book written in such a way that Swami has that knack already, of trying to make spirituality down to such a easy level that we really wonder, is it so easy? What is it, the people made such a noise about spiritual practices being so tough and all that. This book was one such like that. I'd like to begin with a small incident which Swami Rama had when he was walking with his guru once. And Swami Rama used to always tell his guru, Swami, there are so many things I want to get rid of in my life, but I'm just not able to get rid of them. All the time, these attachments which I'm trying to break, I'm just unable to break. They're going on, latching on to me, and I'm not able to understand how to get rid of it. And the guru doesn't talk anything. All of a sudden, he runs and he hugs a tree. And he shouts at Rama and says, Rama, come and save me, this tree has caught me. And Swami Rama is scratching his head. He says, but you are the one who is hugging the tree and you are shouting the tree is hugging you, what do I do? He says, this is exactly what is happening with you. It is not you who is being held by the attachments, you are holding the attachment, which means just like how I can leave the tree whenever I want, you can let go of your attachments whenever you wish. Nobody is going to stop you. That is within your power. That's within your control. And so basically many of us have these kind of attachments which let us call it as habits, which we know are hindering our progress in our spiritual journey. But it takes time for us to get rid of them because of our inhibitions, because of some hidden fears that we have, because of certain obstructions which we foresee as happening. Basically fears, most of which are unfounded. And that is why we go looking for a guru. So that is why the guru comes into the picture. So what is the task of a guru over here? Let me illustrate this with another story which Bhagwan once narrated. I don't believe you can find it in the Parthian of the Chinnakathas which he narrated. But this was a story once he narrated to a small group of us. There was one person who was getting very desperate with his life. He had a family and he was not doing very well. He had a very small room and, children are screaming all the time. His wife is berating him all the time. His boss is shouting at him all the time and he's having enough of life. So, and he goes to a guru and says, Master, I'm in a desperate need of help. Please do something to help me. And guru opens his eyes and he says, who do you stay with? He says, I have my wife, 2 kids. They stay with me and we have one room in which we stay. So the guru says, you do one thing, get 2 pigs, 2 hens and 1 calf and put them in the room with you. Then this man is amazed, he said, what kind of a solution is this? I already have such a small room and I'm struggling now, I have to get the animals in. Yeah, I forgot, he also tells get a pig. So he gets all these animals and he puts them in and after 1 week, totally madman-like person appears before the guru. It's our same person. And he says the stench, the noise, I mean, there's no space. People are screaming, animals are shouting, the pig is stinking. I'm just unable to bear it. I want to commit suicide. Do something. And the Guru says, simple, take the animals out. And he goes and takes the animal out. 1 week later, a most peaceful person appears in front of the Guru and said, such calm, such peace. Thank you, Guru, you opened my eyes. Now, what did the Guru do? Nothing. The person was exactly back in the same environment as where he was. But his perspective has changed. That is what the Guru did. He just showed him a different perspective of how more worse his life could be. That prompted him to appreciate the current environment in which he was. And that in turn prompted him to see life in a more positive way. And that is where he realized that his journey has begun. So a Guru therefore never walks the journey with us. He has already walked it. He has realized himself. In our case, it's the Paramatma himself. There's no need for him to walk the journey with us. But what he does is he puts us in the correct perspective. He gives the correct environment. He gives the correct perspective of life so that we start seeing things for what they are and gradually start progressing on our journey. So how does the Guru does it? Generally like some tough tests like this, and with some equally tough lessons. That's what the Guru does. Why do we call it tough is the first question. It's because we will be forced to relook at, and most importantly, I would say, in a nutshell, if you want, we will be asked to come out of our comfort zone. As long as we are in a comfort zone, we will never be able to take those crucial steps which a spiritual journey demands. Now the question comes, is it tough? Is it tough coming out of a comfort zone? No. There are hundreds of people who have done it, and they have only felt better after it. So the Guru therefore gives us these very tough lessons and equally tough tests so that we get the correct perspective of life and proceed with it. So in the next few minutes, I'll try to discuss here what are the lessons which Bhagwan has in his coursework, and what are the tests that he gives us so that we can get over it. Of course, before everyone starts getting alarmed that this person is going to start listing all the lessons of Bhagwan, no need. I have clubbed everything into just 3. But everything else that people can think of, I personally feel they can fall under these 3 categories. First one is Dil Mein Ram. Dil Mein Ram means equivalent to a Namasmaran. You have God's name in your heart all the time. So whether we are working, whether we are sleeping, or whether we are cooking, or whether we are playing, whatever we may be doing, it helps a lot to go on muttering the name of the Lord within us. The reason is very simple. Swami in fact explained, he was talking to a small child and he told him, see, because if your mouth and your mind is occupied by uttering a holy name, you can choose whichever God we wish. If you chose to utter the name all the time, there is no time for you to think of anything else, and there's equally no time for you to indulge in useless talk. Incidentally, once he was talking to a group of room leaders. In those days used to get interviews with Bhagwan. Room leaders in the hostels, that is the level of interaction which Bhagwan had. People would be waiting for him for months and years together, and Swami would still find time to talk to the room leaders of the hostels. And he was talking to them and said the biggest sin among youngsters, he said, is excessive talk. They talk and talk. And they start with something good, then gradually it goes into something which is not required, and from there the whole plot is lost. So Swami said the biggest issue with the kids is they talk too much. I remember one very funny incident which Swami was actually giving a close to 1 hour talk about excessive talk in Tribe Vrindavan. And one of the boys was sitting right next to, with Swami it is very dangerous, by the way. Whether you think or whether you speak, it is the same. He catches you even otherwise. So he was sitting right next to the Jhula and Swami was talking, and this fellow was wondering, what an irony. He's speaking about talking too much, and for the last 1 hour he has been standing and talking all the time. And then Swami looked at him very, that look he gives, it can really send the shivers down your spine. That means he has understood what you are thinking. And then some people may think that Swami is talking for the last 1 hour about how to keep quiet. Remember one thing, when you talk, you waste your energy. When I talk, I'm the source of all energy. I lose nothing. When I talk, I radiate positivity. When you talk, you only lose your energy. So don't compare the two. And he looked at him again and continued speaking. So excessive talk is one thing which Bhagavan says do not indulge in. And the best thing for that, he says, is you don't have to struggle and control your voice and your mouth. Just replace one activity with another. Go on chanting the name of the Lord. When you go on chanting the name of the Lord, your mouth is already busy, right? It won't find time to talk about anything else. So that's a very simple solution that he gives. In fact, I still remember Dil Mein Ram, he said. Dil Mein Ram is when you go on chanting that name of the Lord, whoever is dear to us, the name gets imprinted in our heart. That is exactly what Bhagavan is looking at. That's the first lesson he gives. Because unless that first step is taken, we will not be able to. Bhagavan often calls our spiritual heart as a single seat sofa. Yesterday I was speaking to people in Leicester, I was telling that. So we need to get that in first. Sant Kabir also tells, the sofa is, this heart is a place where either the God lives or the world lives. If the world is there, the God departs. If the God is there, the world departs. So we have to make that choice. So the best way to do that is Namasmaran. Get God into our heart. Without that first crucial step, the following steps will not be able to be done. So how do we do that is the question. Just like much was given to the students, much was also expected of them. And there were things which, even small things, sometimes we would err, he would not hesitate to basically let us know that we have heard. We never called it punishing us, though some people chose that word. With him, it was never a punishment. It was a joy. Whether he spoke to us, scolded us, or didn't, whatever, it was all a joy. And so Swami was once, something the boys did. He got apparently upset. He stopped talking to us. So whenever this happens, a lot of introspection takes place. The senior students in the hostel comes and give a list of things, what we could possibly do. Some of them are very alarming and promptly get a reaction from Swami. Don't do these things like this. So he actually knows what's happening, right? But he's also watching what we are doing. So if something is looking alarming and is not good for our spiritual progress, Bird used to promptly come, either through the Vice Chancellor or through Mr. Nanjundaya, who was a favorite Sutradhari for us, messenger who would carry messages from Swami to us and us to Swami. And so a message would immediately come. So he was watching all the time. So what used to happen, therefore, was one day Swami was not talking. And everything was being done. People were coming up with a number of ideas. Let us do this, let us do that. And let's see, somebody hit the right idea. He said, see, why don't we put up photographs of Bhagwan everywhere in the wisdom wall, on our doors? Because wherever we see, let us encourage ourselves to only see Bhagwan and nobody else. And they started putting everywhere. By that time, I was already serving Bhagwan, but because I was also working in the university, I used to go for lunch to the hostel because it was faster. So I had gone there, suddenly I saw photographs everywhere. So I asked, what is happening? They said, no, Swami is not talking to us. So we thought we need something to encourage us to think more about Swami. So we are sticking photographs everywhere so that Swami will see. I said, wow, that's a really good idea. So I went, and maybe a day later, Swami suddenly asked, what's happening? So he asked me, what's happening? I said, Swami, I saw something wonderful in the hostel yesterday. He said, what? I said, did boys say anything? He would ask. See, that is the beauty of him. See, he would not talk. But he used to be so this thing, that what are these boys doing? He would ask. Every day he would ask, what are the boys doing? What are the boys doing? What are the boys doing? That day I said, so what are they doing? I said, Swami, they have come upon a very good thing. This is what they are thinking. Why don't we put Swami's photographs everywhere in the hostel so that we start thinking more and more about him? Swami said, Manchidi, chala santosham. Em chesaru? Very nice. What are they done? I said, Swami, they have stuck photographs everywhere. And Swami said, that is the problem. The way he would delve into the depth of the things, he said, that is the problem. Why do they have to worry about putting photographs everywhere on the walls and the boards? Why are they not putting me where I want them to put it? In their hearts. And he tapped my heart and said, here. They are just not letting me come there. I'm waiting to go there and they just don't want me to come there. All the time they talk, and they waste energy, waste their time. How will I be able to enter their hearts? What will I do if they stick my photographs everywhere? I will just be there in the environment, that's it. But I'm waiting to get into their hearts and they're not letting me enter their hearts. I want to be there. So, of course, that is the wonderful, beautiful relation Bhagwan wants to maintain with all of us. He doesn't want to be here, there. Of course, the throne physically is there because physically we have to treat the avatar the way he is supposed to be treated. We cannot just ask him to stand like that. But the actual abode which he is always looking for, which he will rush in without even an invitation, just if we let him, is our hearts. Because that's where he wants to say. There's a rather little bit of a funny incident which Swami narrated once. Now, there are some people, who when Swami narrates his stories, they say who, where, why, what, and they start doing a research on that. Please, Swami's anecdotes are purely for illustrative purpose. Now, we should not sit and start doing research and writing a paper on it, how this is right, the times are not matching, and the people, this person didn't even exist at that time, how did he appear? Those kind of questions don't work here. So my request is, let us please take it in that sense. Draupadi's Vastrapaharan was going on in the court, and we all know what poor Draupadi was shouting for Krishna to help. So she said, oh Mathuravasi, Krishna didn't appear. Oh Brindavana Sanchari, Krishna still didn't appear. And she was going on calling, he didn't come. So finally she was thoroughly exhausted and said, oh Hridayanivasi, and bang, Krishna appears immediately. And he saves her. So at the end of it, see, Draupadi was Krishna's own sister. She had full freedom with him. So at later point of time, she goes and she demands from Krishna, see, you put me through so much of trouble. I kept on calling for you. You never called. You never came. Until the fag end when I was ready to collapse. And Krishna tells her wonderfully, what do you want me to do? I was sitting right in your heart. Then you told me Brindavana Sanchari, I had to go to Brindavan and come. Oh, Mathuravasi, I had to go to Mathura and come. So you kept pushing me out, sending me wherever all, and then I have to come back. But when you called Hridayanivasi, I was there, I immediately appeared. So it's your fault, not mine. It's very illustrative purpose, but I think the message has not escaped any one of us over here. So it's very easy for us to get in touch with God if we imagine him, he is in our heart. It's very tough for him to imagine, that, okay, he's in Tirupati, he's in Edinburgh or wherever, this temple, that temple. No, then it becomes very difficult. That distance automatically creeps into our mind. I have to go there, I have to break a coconut there. Before that, look here, he's already there. That comes secondary. We can always go there because pilgrimage is always good. It's prescribed as one of the sadhanas which human beings are supposed to do. Going to Makkah or going to Bethlehem or going to Tirupati, these are all sadhanas which are prescribed. But before that, let us look here. There we don't look. So it's very important when Swami says that this is Namasmarana, it is having that, it's a prakriya with which we enable God to reside in our heart, which He's waiting for, incidentally. One very touching incident I would never forget about how much he gets moved by Namasmaran. You can make God do anything with the power of Namasmaran. And this happened in the bhajan hall one day. One of the students, they used to stay in East Prasanthi. East Prasanthi is just off the main mandir. You all know that. And this student was a bhajan singer, and his mother was critical. His mother was dying. The doctors came, they said anytime she's going to expire. And this boy had come here and he was singing bhajans with Swami, praying to Swami with whatever effort he could with tears in his eyes to save his mother. But his mother was dying. The doctors had come, they had already told him, you please be prepared anytime she is going to go. And this boy came, Swami just came, he was giving interviews. He wanted to tell Swami, but Swami didn't give him a chance. So he said, okay, let me at least sing a bhajan from my heart. It's the last I can do. It's the least I can do. And perhaps the best I can do. Nothing more. So Swami gave interviews. You could make out Swami was in a great deal of hurry. Then bhajans were going on. He came, he sat, and this boy got a chance to sing. He started singing Sai Pita Aur Mata Sai. Sai Pita Aur Mata Sai, Deen Dayala Data Sai, he was singing. So Swami just sat like this for some time, abruptly got up and walked out. This boy was very hurt. He said, see, you didn't allow me a chance to pray to you, to tell you that, my mother is not well. And when I started singing bhajans, you wouldn't even sit there and listen to me. But he didn't know what was happening outside. Swami walked straight, walked all the way to East Prasanthi, walked all the way to this person's room, and there he went into this person's room and his mother was lying on the deathbed. He said, he called her name and he said, get up. Dr. Alreja was there, and Dr. Alreja said, Swami, it is useless. She's already on her way. Swami said, you keep quiet. And Swami said, get up. And he told, get me some water, and he gave her some water and he said, get up. She got up. She got up, she saw Swami and she said, why did you bring me back, Swami? She had already gone. Alreja was right. She asked Swami, Swami, why did you bring me back? She was already on a journey. That first thing she said was, why did you bring me back? And then Swami said, your time has not yet come. Stay back. And then he went back and he sat in the bhajan hall. This boy didn't know all this happened. He was inside the bhajan hall. Then when Swami was about to go, he looked at that boy. The Aarti was over. Swami waited. Generally, in the middle of the Aarti, he goes off into the room. This time he waited. And after Aarti was over, he said, I saved your mother. Go and see her. And then he went off inside. And inside he was telling, when he was singing so soulfully, Sai Mita Pita or Mata Sai, how could I sit there and just listen and do nothing? It moved him. That is the power of Namasmaran. It moved God himself to get a life back. That is the power. He can do anything with the Namasmaran. We can literally bind him with that. So this is the power of Dil Mein Ram. The second one comes Haath Mein Kam. Haath Mein Kam, hand full of service. Lips should always be chanting the name of God because God will then reside in our heart. And hand should always be full of service. Yesterday I was narrating a difference between duty and dharma, duty and seva. I don't know how many of you are online and heard it, but just for those of you who were not there, I'll just repeat very quickly. Both are right. Many people have the misconception that duty is selfish and it should not be done in comparison to seva. Both are very much required. Duty is when we do our task which has some returns for us. Our jobs, which gives us salaries, right? Or we do some work somewhere, somebody praises us. So something is there in return for us over there. But seva has nothing for us in return. It is always the welfare of others. Duty is for Swami, these are Swami's words, not mine. Swami said duty is for ihaloka. That means it helps us to burn our karma, provided we do it with dharma. It helps us to burn our karma, that's required. While seva is for paraloka. Ihaloka, paraloka. Duty is for ihaloka, seva is for paraloka. So what happens? Duty will help us burn our karma. Seva will help us accumulate punyam so that whenever we require it, we can draw from that. It's like a bonus. So both are required. So therefore, seva is, Dil Haath Mein Kam, Bhagwan therefore says it can be duty or it can be seva, anyone. But whichever one it is, he expects us to discharge it with the full, without any ego and with all our mind, heart and soul. And many times he has actually demonstrated that when somebody is doing their duty or seva as a complete dedication to Bhagwan, saying that, Swami, this is the holy task given by you, let me discharge it in such a way that I do not make you unhappy. That's a very noble feeling with which we do. He is always there watching over the consequences. This is an experience we ourselves have had many times. First, I will tell you one. There's one professor called as Professor Gangadhar Shastri. I don't know, many of you would know him. He's there in Parthi. I've had several experiences with him. Swami would be in Vrindavan. What would happen was, some of us would go to Vrindavan in matadors in those days. We had matador vans, old matador vans. So we would go in that, have darshan, and evening we would start back. So we would leave in the morning at around 4:30, 5 o'clock, reach in time for darshan at Vrindavan, have our breakfast, spend our time over there. And then afternoon we would again have darshan at around 4, 4:30, like that. Bhajans would get over because it used to be a Sunday. That's the only day we would go. Other days we had college. So Sunday Rahu Kalam was 4:30 to 6. So invariably around 5:30 Swami would finish bhajans. He would come, bless us all and tell all of you go now. So the moment Rahu Kalam got over, 6 o'clock, we used to leave. So that was a standard practice, SOP as we call it, for all of us. So that day, Professor, I had to get some liquid nitrogen for my detectors in the nuclear physics lab from the Indian Institute of Science. So I got a matador with the two of those, we call it divars, in which we fill liquid nitrogen, 30 liters. So morning we went and had darshan. And we took Swami's blessing. Swami asked us what you are doing. I said, Swami, I have to go to Indian Institute of Science. He said, go and come back. Evening you have to leave. So I went and I filled up and I came back. The plan was that we will be there till 5:30. But instead, Swami came at 3:45 for some reason. And both of us were sitting outside the bhajan hall. And Swami came and he said, take namaskar and go right now. Then we looked at each other, because Swami never does that. He always gives blessings at 5:30 to the entire lot who was going to Parthi, and then he would send us. Today he's coming at 3:45 and telling both of us, by the way, only, not the others. And he's telling, take Bad Namaskar and leave. Then we thought, then again he said, and we thought we were mistaken, but we were sitting there. Swami went inside. From the corner he saw we were still sitting there. There's a photograph also of Swami looking at us. And again he came out. He said, I told you to leave, take namaskar and go now. So now we knew that, he wanted us to go. So we went. Unfortunately, our driver assumed we are leaving only at 5:30. He was nowhere to be seen. So we went up and down, up and down. By the time that fellow came, it was already 5:10, 5:15. And because Swami told us, we left. It was already getting dark by that time. Unlike UK, the sun sets very fast over there. So here I had a very tough time, imagining, when the sunlight is on. I was still thinking it's 5:30. Then to my horror, I discovered it's 8:30 already. So, because I had to take a call. And then I saw my phone was packed with reminders, meeting, because I was still seeing the sunlight, not the time. So there, and we left. And there, there is a place called Gorantla, which comes when you're going from Vrindavan to Parthi. It was already dark. In those days, the road was very narrow, and that was the place where lots of dacoities used to take place. People used to get waylaid, when they are on their way on that road. A very sad thing happened once. A devotee who was unwell was being transported, and they were looted. And even though they were pleading, that this person is serious, he has to go, they didn't listen. They looted, and that person died, unfortunately. So that was the heinous crimes that used to take place on that road. So we were going, Matador van driver was there, Gangadhar Shastri and myself were seated at the back, and we were just discussing about how strange it was that Swami asked us to go while others are coming and all those things, and we were going. And all of a sudden, we saw some barricades on the road. Some people were just there on the road like that. So the driver started slowing down, but he was already chanting Sai Ram, because he was very experienced. He knew that something is happening. And we asked him what happened. He said, sir, just close all the windows and don't open the door. So we knew our goose was cooked. Something was going to happen. And as expected, those people came, they surrounded the van, they started banging, open, they started shouting. And Professor Gangadhar Shastri, on an impulse, he just opened the door and said, Sai Ram, we are faculty members from SSSIHL University. We are Swami's students and faculty teachers here. We are just having darshan and we are going. There is nothing here we have with us. One of those people, all of a sudden, he stepped back and he looked, you are Swami's students, college people. We said, yes. Then he said, oh. And then he stepped back and he said, hey, all of you come back. There's nothing here. Come back. And they all came back and he said, sir, go. Nobody will do anything to you. And this is the same lot of people, or perhaps their cousins or brothers or whoever they are, who actually killed somebody, despite them telling that, there was a medical emergency and they had to go. But when we told them that we were Swami's college students and teachers, they just let us go. And when we went back, and 15 days later, I again had an opportunity to come to Vrindavan for some reason. And then I fell at Swami's feet and I told Swami, if you had not saved us that day, he said, see, now you know why I was asking you to leave early. This was waiting for you to happen. Because if you would have gone when I told you, it would have been bright and these people were still not scheduled to come at that time. You would have escaped them. But still, because I had blessed you, I had to save you. So he still had to come. So therefore, we had only gone there basically to make sure that we were having Swami's blessings and we were doing our work and we were only thinking about Swami all the way. So he just saved us like that. But perhaps one of the best experiences I've had, which actually I'm never tired of repeating it. Some of you might have heard it, but I'm never tired because that's one of those rare experiences with Bhagwan. Everything is a nice experience, which, changed my entire line of thinking. Entire line of thinking got changed with that. Now, in 1988, there was a Vice Chancellor's conference, in which Vice Chancellors from all over the country had come to participate in some conference. And in that conference, Swami had appointed about 9 of us students and 5 faculty members to look after the Vice Chancellors. And 3 of us, one Professor Jagan Mohan Rao, one very revered mathematics teacher of ours, a great soul. There's lots we learned from him. He was not only a good teacher, he was also a very good human being from which, much could be learned. So him and 2 of us, we were put on where the Sai Srinivasa guest house is there. There we had earlier one just a VIP guest house, wherein, all the important people, prime ministers, presidents would be put up over there. So we were over there. Every other room was in the ashram down. We were the only ones who were up on the hill. So no mobile phones in those days. So any communication, somebody had to just hot-foot it. That's it. There was no other way to come and carry the messages. There were no telephones. There were no mobile phones. So it so happened that the vice chancellors would have started to arrive. And the keynote speakers, the most important ones, they were being put up in this guest house over here, of which we three were looking after. So we were there, and abruptly bhajans were over in the morning. We were taking care of the arrangements, folding the bed sheets, ensuring that the proper bed covers are there in the proper place, pillows are fine, saucers, dishes, toothpaste, toothbrush, all those things we were just checklisting and looking after it. And abruptly at around 10 o'clock, one Sevadal came running up. And he said, sir, every one of the teachers and students who were looking after, who were involved with this work, Swami has called them into Ponchandra Auditorium and he's giving an interview there. And so they asked us to convey that message to you, that you should also come. So we were small students at third year at that time, so we immediately started running. Then Professor Jaganmohan Rao called us back. Why I called him such a wise person? And he told us, see, the keynote speakers of today's program, they are coming here. Swami entrusted us three here because he knew that we will do a good job out of this. Right? That means he trusts us to ensure that there's nothing which is not as per his requirements over here. Under the circumstances, when so much of work is pending, do you think it's a good idea for you to go and have the interview, attend the interview, or don't you think it'll be a little selfish on your part? There is so much of work pending here. Do you think Swami will be happy if you leave all this and go? The way he said it was something different. So we promptly, both of us said, no, I think you're right. So we said, no, sir, we'll finish the work. And obviously, by the time we finished, it was 11 o'clock, and Swami had already retired. So we thought, okay, let it go, no problem. We were not there. So evening bhajans were going on. Evening bhajans were from 6 to 6:30 now. The evening bhajans were going on. And whatever happens, 6:30, Swami would take Aarti and leave. Whatever happens. I really do not remember many instances where the Aarti got postponed for whatever be the reason, beyond 6:30. So it was around 6:20. Now the building was such that there's a main entrance over here, there's a right wing and there's a left wing. The right wing had about 4 rooms and 1 dining hall. 4 rooms and 1 sitting room. This side also there were 4 rooms and 1 sitting room. And then there was a massive dining hall with the main door in the center. So I was on this side. I was carrying a few bed sheets to the other side and pillows, while Professor Jaganmohan Rao and the other student were on the other side. So I had my hands full. So I was rushing across. So I was seeing my way by looking below, like this. Now because the pillows are up till here, so I was holding them like this and I was looking below and I was going like this. All of a sudden, as I was crossing the main door, I saw 2 beautiful feet with an orange robe right in front of me. So I squealed to a halt. It was 6:25. I squeezed to a halt and I was thinking, this can't be Swami. But these feet look like it is Swami's. So I immediately looked like this to see who was there, and Swami was looking from the other side, who was behind this pile of pillows. And, oh, Nuva, he said. Both of us, I said, oh, Nuva. So I hurled the pillows aside and I said, Swami, 6:25. So I just had no, I said, Swami, Nene, he said, it's me only. Then he looked around, there were old iron folding chairs. Those of you who have been going in 70s and 80s, you will recognize old iron folding chairs, no cushion at all. They're pure metal. Swami just grabbed one of those and he sat down on it. And he said, where are the other 2? I said, Swami, they're that side, call them. So I went and I told, sir, Swami has come. Don't joke. It's 6:20. Sir, Swami is really sitting there in the front. Come and see if you want. Then he peeped and Swami was there. So they all ran, we sat around him. He spent almost 15 minutes with us. Now, Aarti here, Mandir, people were panicking. Swami is nowhere to be seen. He never told anybody where he is going. It's past 6:30. The bhajan group people are wondering, should we give Aarti? Swami left no instructions. So they were continuing to sing. Nobody knew that Swami was upstairs, up the hill. And then Swami came, spent 15 minutes with us, blissful 15 minutes where he showed no sign of hurrying up whatsoever. And then he said after 15 minutes, suddenly he remembered and he said, oh, time is over. I have to go and take Aarti. Here, take Pad Namaskar. So we took Pad Namaskar. Just as he was about to go, he turned back. He said, do you know why I came? So we thought, yes, Swami wanted to see the last minute arrangements because from tonight people will come. He said, no. In the morning, I was giving interview to all the people in the Poonachandra hall, and I saw you three were missing. So I asked where you were, and they told us that Swami, they're finishing work up there because all the VIP people were all coming there. So they wanted to make sure that everything is in order. So they're busy working there. That's why you couldn't come. So morning you were so busy with your work and you were sincerely working, so you couldn't come. You see, evening, that's why I came for you. It still rings in my ear. Those words still ring in my ear. You couldn't come, so I came for you. The avatar coming for us. In Telugu, there is a beautiful song, it's called Nanupalimpaga Nadachi Vachitiva, Muralalimpaga Nadachi Vachitiva. Means to Nanupalimpaga. To bless me, you walked all the way, O Gopala. Moralalimpaga. That means to hear my prayers and to cure, to save me from my agony, you walked all the way. So that those words still ring in my ear. The enormous significance Bhagavan gives to seva. Do it with sincerity, without any ego, and we don't need to go where Swami is. He will come to where we are. That's a prime lesson I learned in my life, something I still try to do it, and I still try to imbibe in all the 300 people who work with me in my office right now. If work is there, don't look at the clock. If work is there, don't think of anything else. Whether it's duty or whether it is seva, it makes no difference. If there are people or organizations or institutions banking on us to complete something on time, reasonable time, that doesn't mean, of course, today's institutions, people give you tight deadlines and tell you go ahead with it. Your weekend is gone, your nights are gone, your family time is gone. I'm not referring to those instances. If in our heart we decide that something requires our attention because people are depending on it, and if we do it sincerely, God is always there with us. We don't need to really go looking for him anywhere. And the third lesson I discovered is many times, we hear Bhagavan speak to us. And we think, he has said something. I've seen many people, unfortunately, when Swami is in front of them, they behave in one way, and Swami is not there, they behave in another way. Because, they think that Swami is different, his body is different. Swami is different, his words are different. Swami is different, his actions are different. The very Trikarana Suddhi which he is trying to teach us, he is the very embodiment of it. How can he ever be different? He will speak what he thinks. He will do what he speaks. If there is an embodiment and an epitome or paradigm which you have to look at for Trikarana Suddhi, which he always tells us, it is him. Even thinking, that he doesn't mean what he is speaking, or okay, let him tell something anyhow, he won't see what I am doing after that. It is sin of the highest order, but we still do it. I was guilty of it many times. Because, when you are near him, the power of Maya is the strongest. So we did make that mistake, but the good news is we also recovered from it thanks to his own grace once again. So the main thing we have to realize is, especially in these days, I don't know, I think you were telling me, in these days when physically Swami is not present here, how do we relate to him? Let us forget. He was, okay, while I'll come to one incident, the more than that, he may not, but his words are always there with us. There is a bank and a battery of literature about what he has told us. And if we believe that his word is the same as him, he's always there with us. His words are always there with us. They are printed in book. They are printed in our hearts. So we should need to look at this new perspective that he is not gone anywhere because his words are always there with us. And if we believe Manasa Vacha Karma, that his words are no different from him, it will make a huge difference in the way we pursue our journey in this life. So it was around 2002 or 2003. That is when Swami's physical body started developing ailments. We all know that. And first time in the history, Swami would actually give up giving discourses at times for a few festivals. I don't remember when this was, but this particular festival, I don't know whether it was Dasara or Shivaratri. Dasara of 2002 or Shivaratri of 2003, one of them. I'm not particularly clear, but he definitely had said he's not going to give a discourse on that. Unheard of. If there is a festival, Bhagavan would immediately give a discourse, but this time he himself was saying, I will not be giving a discourse. So some elders had come, belonging to the Central Trust, And they said, Swami, you must give a discourse. Swami, you must give a discourse. People had come all the way across the globe to listen to the discourse. And Swami listened, and then abruptly got so serious. He said, what do you want me to speak more than what I have already spoken? Whatever I wanted to prepare you for, whatever I wanted you to have, whatever I thought was going to be useful for you to chart your spiritual journey, I have already spoken. Why are you not looking at that? Why are you not taking that into consideration and reforming your life? What is the new thing that you want me to continue to speak about? When you are not respecting what I have already spoken, what is the necessity that you will respect what I am about to speak? It was said so powerfully. I can never really generate that emotion with which Bhagavan said that. But that taught me something very important. Once again, possibly made me aware what we should be doing the day, possibly when Swami leaves his physical form. At that time, instead of feeling bad that he has left his physical form, we need to look at the words that he has spoken. They are in the books. They are in our hearts. They are there among our elders who have heard him. They are all there. The words are all there. And Swami is with us through all of these channels. That is exactly what we should be looking at. So his word is no different from what he is. If he has said this is it, that is it. No need to again do a research and try to understand why he said this, why he said that, and all those things. One very thing what I said, I told you many times that I was guilty of not remembering what he said and doubting his word. When I was doing my PhD, I had to really it was experimental nuclear physics, and I had to make an instrument, the precision of which was available only in the premier defense Department of Atomic Energy laboratories, either in Mark and Mumbai or at Kalpakkam in Chennai. So these are the only two labs, which had the precision equipment with which they could make what I wanted for my PhD. So Swami was going to Chennai with the MBA students, and he said, see, if you want to go to Kalpakkam, I'm anyhow going in January, why don't you come with me? There's 3 days we will be here. You go and finish your work and you come. So I said, 3 days won't be enough, Swami. This will take at least a week. Swami said, you do your best. I will take care of the rest. So, but, DAE establishments, why would they listen to my timetable? They will have their own schedule. But thankfully, there were devotees of Swami there also. So, Swami was in Sundaram. MBA students started their workshop. And I took Swami's blessings and I went to Kalpakkam. Kalpakkam is about 80 kilometers away from Chennai. In those days, it used to take about 2.5 hours to reach it. So I went there. From the moment I landed, these devotees of Bhagavan who were already working there, they started pulling in immediately. So they took down the design, they had the preliminary experimentations done, simulations were finished, and then the design came out, and the design promptly they sat. I was not allowed to stay in the establishment because I was a visitor. But people who work there, they are allowed to work till whatever time they wish. So they stayed back in the night, went to the workshop, caught the workshop people, the technicians and all to prepare what I wanted. And just as the 3 days time deadline was ending, I had my instrument ready. But the drama is still about to unfold. So it weighed a total of 125 kgs. Because it was non-magnetic steel, very heavy equipment. So they put it in a wooden carton, packed it thoroughly, 125 kgs. So I said, now how am I going to lug this to Sundaram all the way, where the boys were staying with Swami? Then they said, oh, no problem. Every evening around 2:30, 3 o'clock, one van goes from here to drop a few people in Chennai. We will put this in that and that person will drop you. I said, okay. So the truck was loaded and we got in, and then one driver came, one hefty 6-footer. And to say that he was driving is a misnomer because he was flying. So, full speed he was going. We were holding on for dear life. But of course, I was holding on. The others were used to his driving, so they were busy chatting. I was holding on to whatever I could find, for dear life. And with my leg on the crate because it was flying all over the place. My biggest fear was it is a precisionally crafted instrument. What happens if some damage takes place? So, but anyway, but I think the people there knew that something like this will happen, so they had packed it very nicely. So everything was taken care of. Then I went, a big problem began now. He went to Chennai. I had no idea about how Chennai looks like. I had never been there. So he just went somewhere and everybody got down. I was still sitting there. Then he looked at me and said, what, you need a special invitation to get out or what? I said, but I have to go to Sundaram. He said, hello, this is not a city bus. I have work to do. I have a very important work to do. You please go. This is how far the van will go. It will not budge. I said, there's a 125 kg parcel here. How am I going to lug it? Why don't you please have some pity on me and take me to Sundaram? He said, where? I said, Sundaram. Sai Baba. I said, yes. Arey, that is where I have to go. Why didn't you tell me? He said, and zoom to Sundaram, help me unload it, put it back, and now see the chances. What is the probability that a van with this driver out of millions of permutations and combinations should be assigned to me? What is the probability that our man has decided to have darshan of Bhagwan? And he takes me like a royal king and drops me right at Sundaram. And then after everything was at night, we were having dinner. Swami saw me from far. He said, oh, Uchava. And then he came to me and looked at me with a very mischievous smile. He said, how were the arrangements? Basically, he told me that word, you do your best, which I did. I'll take care of the rest, which he did. So, this is the beauty of believing in what he says. Sometimes we interpret those words wrong, and we think so and so things should happen in so and so way. That is not his fault. That's the problem with our interpretation. So therefore, but what he says happens. It is an important thing that we need to remember. I don't know how you would interpret it, but this incident is partly humorous because of the conversation that happened, but partly also conveys a powerful truth about his mastery over life and death. Birthday celebrations are going on. Like we know, the foreign devotees would come and they would do dramas. On this day, the Greek group had finished their drama and the German group was supposed to do his drama. There was a gap in between. So people were changing the sets and all those things when suddenly Dr. Bhagavat, he knocked the door in the front. Dr. Bhagavat was the medical superintendent of the general hospital. The doctors from US, UK, Europe, Japan, all these places, they had conducted, all these doctors who were come, they were conducting a medical camp. So in that medical camp, and so many people were taking advantage of it. They were getting, because expert doctors from across the globe were there. And, they were doing such a nice seva, free seva to all the people. Lots of devotees and villagers and all came from nearby to take advantage of that. So now this, Dr. Bhagavat came and he said, by Sainath, something serious is happening in the general hospital. I said, sir, what happened? He said, there was in Japan elderly devotee. She's having some health issues. And we are not able to revive her. We are trying our best, but looks like she won't survive the night. The problem is we have to inform her son. I believe you are supposed to give the next, any emergency contact you are supposed to give. So this lady has given the contact of her son who is in Japan. So we have to talk to the Japan embassy and we also have to talk to this boy to prepare to come because it's a considered opinion of all the expert doctors that she is not going to survive the night. I said, okay, sir, I'll tell Swami. So Swami came inside when the Greek devotees' drama was over and he saw me near the door with an ashen face. He said, what happened? I said, Swami, Dr. Bhagavat has come. What happened? He said. I said, Swami, like this. Swami looked at it. He said and he went off. Nothing will happen and he went off. Dismissively like that. I was scratching my head. See, Dr. Bhagavat is telling that it is not, he himself is a doctor of repute and he is telling me what the doctors from international panel are telling him and Swami is just saying, and he just continued and he went out again to see the other drama. So irrespective of what drama is happening here. So I went outside and I was wondering like this, what to tell. Kya hua? I said, sir, Swami said nothing will happen. He didn't say anything else. I said, no sir, he didn't say anything else. So should I tell the people? I said, obviously you can't. Swami said no need. He didn't tell no need, nothing. He just dismissed saying nothing will happen. He said, okay, bhai, chalo, what to do? And he went off. Half an hour later, he came once again. Sainath, her BP is down to dangerous levels. There was no super specialty in those days. So he said, we are trying our best to give her some medicines to make sure that her heart stays in condition, but we are fighting a losing battle. You have to tell Swami. I said, okay, I will tell. Then I went again this time and Swami said, what happened? I said, Swami, that devotee, Bhagavat ki buddhi ledu, neeku antakante buddhi ledu. Bhagavat doesn't have brains and you don't have, and you are an even more worse fellow. I'm telling you nothing is going to happen, you leave her alone. Leave her alone, by the way, not him. So he said, you leave her alone, aim kadu, leave her alone. I said, okay, I went to Bhagavat, Bhagavat said, Sai Ram. And he went. night I was not able to sleep. What is going to happen there? What is happening and all that. Swami was full, peacefully he went into his room, peacefully he came out. No expression. Early morning, 6 o'clock, Dr. Bhagavat comes again. And I said, sir, over. He said, what over? A big miracle happened. I said, what? He says, in the night, these people thought over and they went, and the morning 4 o'clock, this lady was sitting on her bed. And she said, I'm hungry, can I have some idlis? Oh, everybody was talked, parameters are back to normal, everything is back to normal. So he said, you have to inform Swami this. I said, okay, I'll tell him. Then I told Swami, and Swami, cheppitine, nuve vinatledu. He said, I'm telling you, you are only not listening. But he wouldn't let go at that. In the afternoon, these trust members came to meet Swami, and Swami was sitting, and they said, Swami, this is what has happened, a miracle. And Swami called me and he said, I was all along telling that nothing will happen to her. This fellow only is specializing in killing all living people. I'm telling her she will live. This fellow is not listening. He's going on telling she will die. I said, Swami, not me, Bhagavat, whatever. He doesn't have brains. You don't have brains at all. I said, I just kept quiet. Then Swami had a hearty laugh and he went away. So what I'm trying to tell you here is, when he was telling us here nothing is going to happen to her, what devil possessed us to question that? We did. We did question. The devil of Maya possessed us. Even if I had the sense and I have told Dr. Bhagavat and given him strength, sir, stay strong, nothing is going to happen, Swami has told this, Dr. Bhagavat would have calmed down. But I panicked, and he panicked more than me as a consequence. So this is the big mistake that we made. We didn't trust his word. So this is another illustration which Bhagavan gave, that tells us his word is actually no different from him. It follows exactly what he has planned. It doesn't deviate from that. Now, these are the 3 lessons. Tough. I told you how I failed. So, they are tough, obviously, because if some student is failing. And this student is being trained by Bhagavan himself, by the way. And still I'm failing. So, they are tough. And so, therefore, what happens many times is, as happens in the exams, we try to look for shortcuts. How to beat the syllabus, how to beat the test. As students, most of us are guilty of that. Let us not deny that. Most of us had done it in our childhood days, in some form or the other. So it so happened that, we try to find shortcuts. But Swami always comes back and tells, in the path of spirituality, there is no shortcut. You have to go through the grind. So a very humorous incident once happened, that in those days, Swami would, how much time do you have? It's 9 o'clock already, that's why I'm seeing, that's why I'm asking, do I have about 15 minutes? Okay. Now, please don't hesitate to tell me if I have to stop. So, and Swami would go out after bhajans were over, and he would just get into the hostel, just like that. And he would catch boys in all kind of odd dresses and odd poses, and make fun of them, or catch sick people would be there, he would go and bless them. Or he would walk into the kitchen and make fun of the cooks there and telling, what are you cooking? We can't even eat this. Those kind of things he would do. No invitation needed. He would just walk in like that. But there was one particular instance which happened, where for days together he was not coming. So we said, this is not going to work out. We have to do something about this. Of course, if Sai Gita would listen to us, she would simply stand in the middle of the road. So Swami would have no option, but Sai Gita wouldn't cooperate. So we thought what to do. So we were just thinking, so some of our senior brothers, they got a brilliant brainwave. They said, we'll do one thing. When Swami's car goes past the hostel towards Gokulam, it takes about 5 minutes to return. In those 5 minutes, let us form a conical structure like this, which gently slopes, and at the tip of the cone, it blocks the road of Swami's onward path. And we leave just one path near the hostel, suggestively telling Swami, you have to go like this. I said, wow. He gave us those liberties. That's why we could do it. So we all stood. Now this, we were watching. I was at the end of the cone, one of the end of the cone. Everybody was standing there, and we could see what is happening. We could see the people inside the car. Swami was not moving. Nobody inside the car was moving. And the car came, and all of a sudden, the left indicator came on, indicating that Swami is getting into the hostel. Car came into the hostel. We said, success. And we all, boys being boys, we don't use doors and gates. We just jumped over the wall. Whatever is a closest available avenue, we used it. And walls were the closest, we just jumped over the walls. So everybody jumped over the walls, gates, whatever was available, we jumped to get into the hostel because Swami was entering the hostel. So Swami came into the hostel, there's a circle, he went around the circle. One of the senior students was standing there, let me open the door. He put his hand and the car door went right through his hand. Car didn't stop. So he went around like that, came like this, came out. By the time he returned to the gate, there was not a single soul on the road. Everybody had jumped over the walls to get in because we thought Swami is coming. And the last few people who were struggling in, we saw Swami coming out. He was chuckling away to glory in the car. He had beaten us hollow. He was chuckling away to glory, and he went off and we just stood at the car and we watched it. It just went like this. Evening, very crestfallen, we were sitting like that. Swami came out and he said, Jagannataka Sutradharitone Natakala. He asked, you want to play dramas with the person who directs the cosmos itself? No, the way he said, Jagannataka Sutradharitone Natakala, he asked in Telugu. That means the person who directs the drama of this entire cosmos, you want to play a drama with him. And he laughed. So, but it was such a beautiful experience that we had. No shortcuts with Bhagavan. You try to take a shortcut, he is much smarter because he will promptly do something that will get you back on track again. Because shortcuts in spirituality are always dangerous. So he will always get us back on track with very, very small instances like this. So this is a very important thing which I wanted to share with you. The first lesson is, of course, the 3 lessons what it teaches us. The second one is, let us understand that there are no shortcuts in spirituality. It is in our own interest that we should go through the grind. We should go through the grind because it is good for us only. And I come to the last section wherein I'll just narrate 1 or 2 instances and I'll stop. In these physical days, you asked me the question, how do we relate and feel the presence of Bhagavan, learn the lessons that he wants us to teach, and all those things. Of course, one thing I already said, that his words were no different from him. His words are always there, so we can always fall back on that. But there is a bigger truth than this, that Swami was never really that 5 foot 4 inch frame. He always wanted us to see the real Swami who is well beyond that 5 foot 4 inch frame. That 5 foot 4 inch frame that we used to see and we used to call Swami and adore as Swami was only a channel through which he wanted us to go through and have the vision of the real Swami. It was always that. Never to get attached to that body. So I remember once, I will narrate one incident. It happened in my own lab. That's why I would like to tell it. In Patti University, if you go, every lab and every library thing that you see, Swami would have physically come there, inaugurated it, blessed the people who are there, and he would have gone, except to the nuclear physics lab. He never came there. He never came there. And I would always ask him at the first available opportunity, Swami, you came to all these labs, but you have never come to my lab. Please come to my lab, Swami, please come to my lab. And Swami said, Chustan, he would say, but he would never come. So I was still doing my PhD in those days, and Swami would go to Vrindavan. I didn't have the duties to take care of Swami physically. Dilip would go with Swami to Vrindavan. I would stay back. So I used to use those opportunities to do maximum work. Sometimes, I used to stay overnight in the lab to complete my work and come back early hours around 2:33, to sleep for some time in Ponchandra Auditorium, clean up the place, and then once again go back. So I would take advantage of the fact that Swami was not physically available there, so which means that gave me plenty of free time. So I did lots of work so that I could cover up for whatever I felt was missing to be covered up in my PhD thesis. So this was when the nuclear physics labs used to go on experiment. We used to 3 to 4 days, 24/7 monitoring has to be done. There are pressure parameters, there are temperature parameters, there are so many parameters, which has to be checked once every 3 hours, monitored, and then noted down, and appropriate corrective measures to be taken on the instruments, all those things. So that was very critical, because if they didn't happen, then it would go into an uncontrollable chain. So we used to do that. Of course, because it was my PhD thesis, there was no other student in PhD in nuclear physics in those days. I was the only one. And Professor Venkataramanaya was the one. He the one who puts mics and all that. You would have seen him many times. So he was my PhD supervisor, very humble gentleman. I mean, one of those rare souls, whom Swami finds to give us the blessing of learning from them. So I had taken the readings at 2 o'clock in the night. There was an electron, because the place, lab itself is very cold, you can't sleep there. So I used to vacate electronics workbench and I used to sleep there with a bed sheet and with a pillow. Every 3 hours my alarm would ring, I would get up, take the readings, go back and sleep again there. So 2 o'clock late in the night, I took the readings and I went and slept, and at 2:10 or 2:15, like a madman, I jumped out of the table. Something pushed me with full force out of my table to go and open my lab door. And I opened the lab door, disaster was unfolding right in front of my eyes. I don't know what happened. But there was a tube, that used to take the hot water from the detectors, push it through a chiller plant, and then push cold water through the detectors once again. And that inlet of hot water, the tap, was coming out in front of my eyes like that. Something had happened and the pressure had built up. I don't know how. It was coming out in front of my eyes. Because I had just jumped out of the sleep. My minds were still not working. I didn't know how to react. And before I could do anything, with a pop that came out and spewed hot water all over the lab at very high pressure. That is when I realized something is happening, and without seeing, I just rushed to do something. I didn't see the puddle of water below, and that hot water was touching some open wire somewhere. I got electrocuted there. So I was shaking. Nobody there, 2 o'clock in the night. Even Sevadal wouldn't be there because it is summer. We are operated with skeleton staff. And I was just shaking there for how long, I don't know, when suddenly I felt something push me with great force against the door, away. So my joints were totally locked. I couldn't unlock my joints. And when I could finally unlock it, I ran, went to another door, and there with a huge bamboo pole, I switched off the mains. Then after that, I came inside, checked everything. Of course, whatever I could see, everything was safe and sound. And then at 4 o'clock in the morning, I went to the staff quarters to wake up Professor Venkatramani. He saw me early in the morning. He said, "What happened?" I said, "Sir, this is what happened." Now, I told you what gems of teachers Swami selected. His first concern was, "Are you okay?" There were lakhs worth of instruments over there over which hot water had fallen. He was not bothered. "Are you okay?" I said, "Sir, I got an electric shock. That's why it took some time for me to recover." Then he said, "You sit down first." And then he changed his clothes and we ran. Between us, we opened every detector, checked everything and discovered that everything was fine, and we put everything back in order. It took us about 3 to 4 hours. And then at around 6:37, Dr. Venkatramani decided, "See, let us not tell anyone." See, the problem if you tell now is letters will start coming from AdBlock. No research scholar should be present in the lab beyond 10 o'clock, blah, 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 all that. If you don't do that, then who's going to do the experiments? So he said, "Just keep quiet, don't tell anyone that this has happened." I said, "Okay, sir, I'll not tell anyone." Even Swami. So that's what I thought. So we didn't tell anyone. So then everything was over, and 3-4 days later, Colonel Jogarao and Dilip had come back. Sai Kulwant Hall was being constructed. So every weekend, Colonel Jogarao would come to see the progress of that. And Dilip would come with him. So Dilip came, and he came to the hostel where I was, and he said, "Sainath, can you just come out once? I need to talk to you." So I came out, and he said, "Did something happen?" I said, "No. No, Swami told me to specifically ask you, did something happen?" Then I understood I was caught. I said, "Yeah, I had an electric shock like this." He said, "So you have to be careful, man. You can't afford to do like this. You have to be careful. Swami doesn't appreciate this." I said, "Yeah, I realized it now, but it's okay, go." So then he went, and summer course happened. I went to summer course. And there, I fell at Swami's feet, and "Swami, you saved my life. That's why I'm able to come here today and sit before you." He put both his hands on my shoulders like this, and he told me something marvelous. He said, "Every time you would tell me, 'Come to my lab, come to my lab, come to my lab,' when did I ever leave that for me to go and come back again?" He never left. I was the one who was imagining that he had gone and he is coming and he has to come and all that. He never left. He was there right from day one. So this days when he is no longer in his physical form, it's very natural for us to feel that, Bhagavan is not there, we should feel bad and other. But we are forgetting one very important secret. It is the world that is going and coming. He was always there. We are going and coming. He was always there. He never left. So this is a change in perspective which, having followed Bhagavan for so many years, we need to bring in ourselves. Change the perspective. Let us orient ourselves in a different direction. Let us not keep telling, "Swami is not there, Swami is not there." Let us ask ourselves, how do we connect with the Swami who is always there? a change in perspective, a change in orientation. That is the true Guru Dakshina we can give to our Bhagwan. That is perhaps the only thing that he even expects from us. Nothing more than that. That we will learn the lessons that he has taught, that he will take the examinations that he has given, alter our perspective, and one day reach him because he is waiting for us. With these words, I would like to really thank you for giving me this opportunity, and Sai Ram, and thank you very much.